The new season starts in another 3 weeks, and now it's important to talk about the squad. Who is coming in? Who has gone out? Who is needed? The new managers and three games of preseason has done. They just won against MK Dons 3-1 and Colchester 3-0. How the squad is going, what is needed, but especially I wanted to talk about the players that's needed for our squad and whom we need to sell and whom we need to keep. So let's go into that, especially. Let's start from the goalkeepers. As you know, we have Hugo Lloris as a number one keeper, and it's going to stay as number one as of now for at least for a year. That's not going to change, but as seen, we need a improvement from him as he's not going to stay for a club for a long period of time. So we really needed an improvement. So we got Golini for a 1 year loan with an extension of 1 year or 15 million to buy, and it also has a clause of if he plays another 20 games we need to pay him 20 million. So it's a really well structured deal. Golini as a player, what he has done, he's been playing for Atlanta. He's been there since 3 years, for 3 years as 3 seasons with them, and especially going from qualifying from Europa League, then to Champions League twice the season. How is he as a goalkeeper? Is more of a sweeper keeper, just like Lloris, more like Lloris, but more and much more younger, much more mobility when he moves. So that's the has he what has he done in the English leagues? Has he been in the English leagues? Yes, he has. He has played for Manchester United. Hasn't shined that much when he was there. Then he had moved to Aston Villa on loan, and he has been a bench keeper. Hasn't proved himself. His major improvement came when he moved back to Italy, where he showed in the Serie A that how good as a goalkeeper he was, and it is seen as how he has improved himself. And when playing in the Champions League against Real Madrid, against Liverpool, how he has been, how crucial he has been for them. And this is a really good signing. Hopefully, this works out for us and has a really good potential to grow as a really great player. And that's very important for us to get a good goalkeeper because Hugo Lloris is also aging. He's going to be 35, 36. I don't see him. He's not going to be he's not more of a future for us, and we needed a good goalkeeper. So it's a good time for experimenting. He won't get much of a game time, but with the games in place, we can see his potential and he can prove himself. So that's something over there. Joe Hart, please leave this club. There's been talks with Celtic recently, and he needs to take a really important time to just move out from this club. And I don't want him to see as potential in our club to be with us. So, Mr. Joe Hart, please do find a better club. And I don't know, the only reason we have him in this club is because he's a home ground player, and Nuno doesn't see him as a potential, then don't see him as a potential, and let's move forward. So just go ahead with him. And one more thing is that Golini is here, so I don't see much of he's not going to be more of a second place goalkeeper. He's going to be more of a third choice goalkeeper. I've seen he's going to fight with Whiteman. So if he wants to play in the end of his twilight careers, if he just wants to get some game time, it's better for him to move to the Scottish League. But I don't think so. Him as a player he's been deteriorating. He's not good when someone shoots from far. It goes inside the goal. His reflexes have gone down. His movement has gone down as a goalkeeper. So he's been in his last careers and is going down. So if he wants to get some game time, it's better he moves into the Scottish Premier League. So I don't see any improvements from there. So just get rid of him. Whiteman, yes, he's a keeper of our academy. He's been proving really well, and especially had a really good game yesterday. He saved a penalty. So he's someone we need to improve. We need to keep him. He's been there for a long time, but it's going to be a huge up fight. But I really hope when Hugo Lloris leaves, he's going to be more of a second choice goalkeeper, Whiteman, and we can make him into he's a really good backup keeper, and if he proves really well, he may get a good move outside. So Whiteman is someone where we need to look through and need to develop him up the ranks. Now coming back to our fullbacks, especially, here is where our big talking point comes up here. First point, let's go into the big picture. Serge Aurier. Yes, he has given us really good years for past 2 to 3 years. Yes, and especially into he joined 2017. That time we had Trippier as a number one. 2018 Trippier was a number one, and then after we left, it was Aurier. Seriously, our board needs to think because we haven't replaced a right back since Kyle Walker has left, and that's somewhere we need to really replace. And we bought well, I'm going to talk about the next player later, but we haven't bought an upgrade as a right back who can come and stay here. Yes, this is a right back. This is a caliber of player who can start week in and week out and can play against the big boys and has potential to grow big. So we haven't signed any player for right back, and this is where we are lacking. We never get in replacements for certain positions that doesn't allow us to challenge for titles. It's just simple logic, and we need to wait for players to sell. We need to sell them, we need to make money, and we need to get the players. Whereas when you see big teams, they don't care. They get the players they want, and the players which they don't want, they're like, go play for your reserves. And it's seen in Manchester City, it's seen in Manchester United, it's in Chelsea. They want the big players and they play the big money for it. It's simple logic. So that's why we are lacking of, and we need to get rid of Aurier. It's been a long time. He's not going to be a number one keeper, and hopefully we get suitors for him. That's something which we aren't getting right now, and hopefully we get suitors for him, and especially AC Milan is targeting for him. So I see him move to AC Milan if a good deal comes. Anything, if any price, 15 million. I don't see him going for more than 25. So 15 to 20 is something which I'll take as if I was that position, I'll take 15 to 20 million, and I'll try to upgrade that position. And yeah, that's for Aurier. He has done really good service for us for past few years. He's a player who doesn't perform consistently, but if he's in the game, if he's having a good game, he has a good game. That's the thing about Aurier. He's someone I would keep him as a squad player. I won't be starting him week in and week out because he has that mistake in himself. He has that mistake in himself, and he. But when he performs games, he really performs well. Against a 6-1 against Manchester United is phenomenal, and there's a lot of games where he performs really well if he's in game. But if he's off game, he's really awful. That's something which we can't have. We can't have a player who's starting week in and week out without knowing him what he can give, seriously. So yes, it's better to move forward and get someone who's more younger, who I can see as potential right backs is something which I'm gonna talk about later. And yeah, and now we talk about Matt Doherty. Yes, we all know about what Doherty has performed last season was horrible. Going up forward was horrible. Defensively was horrible. Wasn't tracking back really well. That was giving a lot of pressure to our wingers to like come back and track back against Jose Mourinho. So this someone I need to see because Nuno knows him really well because he was in Wolves, and someone who was playing much more further than back. So he's someone where we can use when if we play a 3-4-3, especially. So that's someone we can use him really effectively and not give him less defensive duties because when he goes offensive, he's a really good player, and that is some player in him. I'm not saying. So that's what I'm saying because we can't have Aurier and Doherty as our players for next season. We need to ship out one of the right backs because both aren't great starters for our team. So I would say that Serge Aurier has been for a long time, so we get something out of him. This is the most money we can give, and Doherty can be used as we need to see because it's one season, and I never judge anyone with a season, and it's better we a new manager, a new philosophy, someone who knows him really well, someone who's played him in that positions really well. So Matt Doherty, I would use him. I would use him for next season, and that's someone where I would keep him. I'm not sure whether Nuno is going to be starting week in and week out if we get a better right back, but it's someone I would take it into consideration where because he has been really performed well for Wolves, which I've seen for the past few seasons, and the manager knows him really well. So it's a no-brainer for me to keep him. Coming to our fullbacks, that's someone where we need to talk. We have three fullbacks: Reguilon, Davis, and Sessegnon. I'm going to put Sessegnon as a fullback and someone whom Nuno wanted him as a left back. So the thing about getting in Nuno is to develop young players, and obviously we need to get the best out of these players. And Ben Davis, his time as a fullback is done. If I want to play him, I'm going to play him as a left-sided centre back. When if he play as a three at the back, I can see him play as a left-sided centre back. I don't want to see him playing as a left back. His legs are gone. He doesn't provide anything up forward. He doesn't have pace. He's okay. He's good defensively. He gives that 6 on 10 performance defensively, but he's not good when he goes offensively, and that's something which we really need if you're playing under Nuno. The fullbacks need to be bombing forward if you're playing offensively, and that's something which we really need. And Ben Davis as left back, I don't see him. I've seen him as left-sided centre back, but that's something which Nuno also needs to see him as left-sided centre back. But if we get good offers for him, I will try to ship him off. I will try to ship him off to some other club. So Ben Davis, yes, he's been there for a club for a long years, but sorry, he's he's been here for a long time, and it's better we ship him out. But if you get a good offer, I would take him. Or if Nuno sees him, I would see him as a left-sided centre back, but not week in and week out. But like, if anything happens, he can give that defensive performances because he gives it 6 and 7 on 10 performances. So playing if you play the three at the back, I would see him as a left-sided centre back, but I don't want to see him as a full-back. I don't want to see him as full-back. But traditionally, he plays as a full-back, so I'm naming it as a full-back. But I would see him as a left-sided centre back if we play him. I don't want to see him as a left back next season. That's that for sure. And yes, obviously, Reguilon is someone which had a really good first half. He performed really well. He was really focused, and then it totally derailed in the second half of the season. I don't know if it's lost of focus or anything, but there's a player in him. We know what he can perform, and when he has confidence, we know what pace he has, what he can do offensively, how we can assist. We can just see him. He has all the attributes. The first half of the season just exploded. He's young. He's hungry. He likes the club. Obviously, there's someone whom I really want him to have a really good season when it comes to the 2021-2022 season. And Reguilon, there's no brainer on it. Coming to our centre backs. Oh yes. Awful. It's an awful selection right now because we have Toby who's left to Qatar recently. All the best to him. He's been our main player for huge years. It's very heartening to leave because he's one of the key members when Watongan was there for us to take to the Champions League. It's very. I really feel sad that for the players like them, we weren't able to give them trophies, which was really needed. And if they won the Champions League, if they really won the Champions League, people would consider them as one of the best centre back partnerships in Spurs, regardless of what they perform in the Premier League. People just throw them out because regardless of what we have achieved in terms of coming to the Champions League, finishing second. Yes, obviously as a fan, I would want us to win trophies. That's that for sure. But what they have performed is something where everyone underrates them as a centre backs, where what they've given as a club. They haven't won the final straw, so no one will consider them as the best centre backs, but one of the best. I would consider one of the best. But if they would have won that, it would have been really good for them as a career and what they've achieved for Spurs. So really heartening for them to see them go away from the club. But it's somewhere we are forcing for a revamp. And let's talk about our centre back. Sanchez needs to leave. Dyer needs to leave. And Carter Vickers needs to leave. So these are the three players who needs to leave. But as sound from the club's rumors, I see Sanchez as a potential who is going to leave this club because we have been offering him with some swap deals recently. Jules Koundé was something which just flopped off with the 30 million because he doesn't want to join. I don't see anything about Koundé because he wants the big deal, but I don't want him to join our club as a feeling that he wants to keep our club as a second choice. And there's been recent rumors of him to join Chelsea. I think so. It's better for him to do that. I don't want him to come as a club thinking that is a second straw and then it's a smaller club. But I don't want that attitude in my club. So Kunde, you can have an ego with yourself of joining the big clubs. It's nothing wrong. I don't want to say or anything, but I don't want to join this club thinking that okay, this is the second string team and all that stuff. Yeah, if anyone who's joining our club from now onwards needs to play for a club, or else I don't want them. I don't want this bullshit attitude which all these players are having right now. Get out this get out. I don't want this idiotic attitude on my club who doesn't want to play and just wants to like roam around with no and all that stuff. So get rid out of this place, and especially Eric Dyer. I want him out of this club now. Now coming off the centre backs options, Sanchez, if you get 30-35 million, take him and ship him out, and please do. I don't want him in the club. I really don't want him in the club, and please do get him out of the club as how much ever we can give, because he's someone who's much more younger, who can we can ship him money and get a really good another better centre back at a much better price at what he's been offering. Is someone which I'm really tired, because he has the physicality, he has the potential, he has everything on him, but he doesn't perform. That's the most really irritating for me, because he's really good with physicality. Okay, on the ball he's very bad. On the ball when he's passing is really bad. But off the ball when he's defending, he's a really good defender. But what he does is makes mistakes at the back. He rather gives off a penalty, rather he gives silly challenges. It's all about that which makes me pissed about Sanchez, and that's why I don't want him in the club, because he's spent in this club for a long time. We purchased him for 45 million. He's which of high wages, and is someone who is a good asset to sell to replace him rather than Eric Dyer. Is someone which I still want to get rid of him, but is a rather good asset to sell. So if there are good suitors for Sanchez, ship him out and get how much of money we want out of him, and get good replacements. And the same thing for Eric Dyer. He's not younger. He's not going to improve. He's been here for the club. He's been here. He doesn't want to. He's just roaming around this club because he knows that he's not going to get a better club. Get rid of those players, man. Get rid of those players. Get rid of them. I don't want them to be as my first choice. And I don't want Eric Dyer to start. I don't want him to start for Conference League also. Get him out. Dyer and Sanchez, sorry. Yes, you have been a good servant for us. You have been there for this thing. You have showed your passion and all that stuff. But this is Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. This is not Tottenham Hotspur Passion Club. If you aren't performing, it's like a corporate world of football. If you aren't performing, if you aren't showing your performances, and you aren't showing your improvement season by season, then sorry, out, because we need to be back in the Champions League position. And sorry, with the performances you guys performing, I don't see yourself. And it's given you have given plenty of chances in this club to prove yourself. Sorry, and it's time for them to move. Jaffet and Rodon, youngsters, someone they can improve. Joe Rodon had a really good uh, Euros recently, so there's someone I'll keep him. He's a really good asset for him to improve. He's a really good young player. He's really good with the ball. More to improve, and defensively he's made a good chances of errors, but his first year in this Premier League, so there's a room for improvement. But more as a player, for me as a player, I need to see what attributes they have as a player. That's the most important thing, rather than the performances they give week in and week out. Is what is the potential, and that's something which I really liked about Davinson Sanchez. He had the potential, but he's giving seeing a lot of errors. He's mentally, the thing is that he's mentally not ready for the game. The thing about Dyer and Sanchez is why we more than what they're as a player, what they can give, is more of mentally they're mentally unfit to play for our club as a defender. That's the main reason. More than what attributes you can have, you can be a poor player, poor with your ball. You're not a great player you're a great top centre back. But there are some players who play for Burnley, who play for Brentford, who may play for them, but they're mentally fit to play as a centre back, even if they don't have the qualities of a top centre back. That's the main reason why I hate them. Is because they aren't mentally fit as a player and they make that silly errors and silly mistakes. They don't have the IQ as a defender. That's simple. You can be a really average centre back, but you can have an IQ as of okay, fine, I need to be here and all that stuff. Whereas a top centre back is more physical, who can have has more skills, can has more with the ball and all that stuff. That's regardless. But these players are mentally unfit to be as a defender. And sorry, and we need to move ahead with them. And Carter Vickers, he's been there for many years as a on loan, hasn't proved himself as a centre back over here. So it's better for these guys to move ahead and cash in the money. What I can see right now is Aurier for 15 million in the piggy bank, Dyer for 30 million. We already get 45 million. Dyer 5-6 million, max 41, and Carter Vickers 2 to 3 million. So I get 44 million from these players from piggy bank. And talking about our DMs, that's someone we're really strong at. We have Oliver Skip, who's been proving really well. So good for us to groom. He's ready for the Premier League, and I really want him to have a really good season. And I want Skip and Højbjerg to start, but Højbjerg is pushed a bit more, given more license to move forward and play more of the assist role and to like put on the pressure and move the ball more effectively than for him to like be more defensively, which he's also good at. Rather than I would want Skip to play that role. So Højbjerg plays into more of that thing because we have seen the potential of how he can play as a not playmaker, but how he can play from the back or something which technical terms called as a register. Yeah, he's that type of player. He's a register, and I want Højbjerg to play as that. That's something which I really want him to play as that, and he has really good potential. And then we can play Ndombele and Lo Celso, the number 10, or we can play Højbjerg and Ndombele as our DMs in the pivot, and then we can play as a Deli Ali in the camp. There's a lot of combinations we can do. So that's something which I really want is that Skip and Højbjerg needs to needs to start needs to start and give a lot of game time. That's something which we really need. Coming to our CMs, as I said, either you can play Højbjerg, Lo Celso, Højbjerg, and Ndombele, anything, or skip Lo Celso, skip and Ndombele. We have that options over there. Or we can see Lo Celso and Ndombele playing as a cam, and they have played recently, but Ndombele plays as number 10. Then I think playing as a number 10 for the first half of the season, he's been effective. They aren't natural number 10s, but they can play in that position, and that's something which worries about some player which I'm going to talk about later. But Lo Celso and Dom, Lo Celso had a really good season, won the Copa America, is really fit, is strong. There's something which I really want is that his fitness needs to improve for coming into the season, and I want him to improve his fitness and come as a big player. I really want him to do that. Ndombele, yes, Ndombele is something which what I really want from him is that he has the attributes, he has everything with himself, but the only thing which lacks with him is that he doesn't concentrate in games. His concentration level is very weak, and his confidence level is very weak. He has every talent in this world to be a really good centre back and be a number one starter for France, but he lacks confidence and he lacks concentration. It's something which he really needs to improve in his game. If someone I don't know whether someone is to motivate him, but he needs to get in that. But is he a shy type? What type of player is in the dressing room? I have no idea. But yeah, I know there's something of a language differences because he's not fluent in English, but all that thing comes into the factor. But on the pitch, when it comes to communication, that may be something over there. But in terms of a player where he can dribble, he can go past 2-3 players. He's really good with the ball. With the ball, he's really good. Off the ball, yes, there's a lot of question marks. But I don't want him to play off the ball because we have a Skip and a Højbjerg who can take care of it. So I just want Ndombele to play in that position where he can play given the ball and he has the freedom even if he loses the ball. When he plays with that confidence, we can see more of Ndombele as a key player, and that's something which Nuno will see him when he comes into it. Nuno will see him, and it's something which everyone can see. It's a no-brainer for him to play in that type of position where he can give that role of whether he loses the ball, there are players to look back at, and yes, and coming and yes, and that's something. And to build his fitness, we have Lo Celso who can also play that role. So we have two good players who can play that role. So we have really good options in the midfield. And coming into it, after all these options, there are two players we need to ship out, and it's especially Musa Sissoko. 30. I don't know why. What's he still doing in this club now? We need to move him off. Whatever good suitors we get, 5 million, 6 million, 7 million. I don't care. Just accept it. Anything, anything. Just get rid of him. Wage bill. He's taking a lot from a wage bill. It reduces a wage bill, and Sissoko needs to move on the season. That's it. I don't see any role into it. And Harry Winks, 25 million they're asking. I'll seriously sell him off for 20 million. I don't know whether this guy is a CM, a CAM, a DM. I have no idea of what this guy plays us. Everyone says this guy's a good passer, good everything. I'm not convinced about Winks. He's a really average player. He's someone who has a potential to play for Aston Villa and some lower leagues. I don't see him as a player who can play for the Champions League and who can take us to the next level. These are two players we need to ship out. And yes, this is not something of a serious concern for me because we have Skip, Højbjerg, Lo Celso, and Ndomble as a four midfield options, and we can get in some new young players to play in the Conference League. It's not something which is very important to address for us, but if we get someone like a Awar or someone for Awar or Savitzer for 20 million, I would take it. And we have really good options. So midfield is never a problem for us. Midfield was never something which we are losing the battle on, and something which we really have. Only thing is a fitness wise, if we lose 1 2 players, then it'll be a worry. So if you're selling Winks and Sissoko, then we need to get good replacements for them at least. At least one player out of two, if we can get. And then we have Dele Alli who can also play in that role. Coming to Dele Alli, let's talk about Dele Alli. 3 4 years, some of one of the player which I really loved when he came, and he was that player who can move into the box, who's there in the box, put over there. But the reason why he was shining is because of Christian Eriksen, who was a player who was there giving him the deliveries so he can go and score goals. He was never a player, when if you see in 2016-17 season, he was never a player who was playing as a DM, was playing as a cam, was chasing players. He was given the full freedom. When you see Dele Alli, right, he never contributes much as a whole game, but he will be there to score goals, or he'll be there to give that one assist. He'll be there for the crucial moments, and that's why he is. If you see him individually, if you see him as a performance, you will be like, oh, he hasn't done much in the game. But where you see that in crucial minutes, right, where he performs, that's where he is. That's what Dele Alli is. Dele Alli is the player where when needed, he steps in into that right moment. He knows where the pockets of spaces is, and that's something which you can't teach anyone. And he has the talent. He has the talent. He has the talent with the ball. He has the talent how to move with the ball, where to move. He has to. The only thing which is lacking with him is the, I don't know. There's a lot of about his training, which is very poor, and his mentality. If he improves his mentality, I don't think so. It's a confidence issue. He's very confident, but I think so. Him as a person needs to improve his mentality and see that, okay, even if they drop me, I can go on the pitch and prove myself that why I am the best player on the pitch. And sorry, he's lacking the mentality, and if he's not showing the mentality this season, we need to move him on. I'm going to give him one more season for him to prove why Dele Alli, what Dele Alli is. He's lacking his mentality. Simple. He if he gets his fitness is something which dried up last season, but that's something of a different issue. That's everything comes into the mentality. If the mentality is really right, the mentality was really good. I wouldn't see Jose Mourinho dropping him. His mentality was really good. But what is Jose Mourinho's starting 11 is he wants to choose 11 players with good mentality, except for the defense, which I'll take it into account because he didn't have much options at that. But still, he tried everything we can week out over there. Yes, Jose Mourinho has made a lot of mistakes in terms of everything, but when he chooses his players, it's about 11 players with mentality. And Delhi is something who didn't have the mentality to perform. Didn't have the balls, he didn't have the fire, he didn't have the guts, he wasn't the man. He was saying that you need to be that. You need to be that type of player who can be bad boys. He wasn't that. He wasn't the bad player. He wasn't the bad boy on the pitch. Didn't have the mentality, so he dropped him. That's something which I want to see him is get the right mentality this season. And he's a good player. He's a good player. There's nothing about this. No one is doubting his talent. No one is doubting what he can do on the pitch. No one doubts what runs he makes on the pitch. He has everything, but it's just the mentality is something which I really want him to do. And I'm hearing that he can also be played as a center forward this season if needed, if you play a false nine or something. So yes, I don't mind that because he's someone who gives a goal scoring threat and who is someone who beats that knows when to be in the box. That's someone we really need. And talking about camps, if we can get a better player to play as a cam, which I just said about Awar and Sabitzer, who can play either as a cam and either as a CM, it depends upon what they can play, but they're really suitable for the position. If we can get any good one of these players, I would be really happy. And talking about wingers, I think so. This is someone where we have really good options. We have Heung-min Son, we have Steven Bergwijn, we have just gotten Brian Hill, Lucas Moura, and for a conference league we have Alfie Devine. So that's something where we have really sorted into. But yeah, can improve our wingers if needed. But there's a lot of things we need to improve at our centre back position, which I'll be talking about the transfer targets, which we really need. And strikers, Kane and Scarlett. We really have Kane. It all depends about what he thinks about the club is, where he wants to move. And talking a bit about Kane, what can be the position for Kane? What can be really the position for Harry Kane this season is? I don't see him leaving the. I don't see him put himself into a transfer request rather than the agent doing himself to push a move. That's something I want to see Kane pushing a move. It all depends upon how much Manchester City bids these. Manchester City bids about 150 million. If there's a 160 million offer right now on the table, he's leaving right now. That's that for sure. But Manchester City says I don't have the money. I don't believe them. I'm really sure if they really want the player, they'll go for them. That's what top quality teams does, and that's what they do. So if they really want them, they'll pay the 160 million. So they're very hesitating to get that money. I don't see him leaving. But if they have 2 3 weeks and they can't find any player, and if they bid 160 million, and we give away and we don't get replacements, I'll be really pissed. So, it's better we get a really good backup striker, and I really don't see him even staying in if he goes, even if he qualify for the Champions League next season. So I don't think so. He's going to sign a new contract next year, and I don't. I want to be really optimistic, but the max we can get is fourth position. The team we have right now, it's very average. It's very average, and there's a lot of work to do in terms of improving our squad. And it all depends upon what bid at what time we get, and especially anything about 150 million right now. Kane is leaving, but whether they will be willing to pay is a really good question. I don't see him pushing a move. The only way he pushes a move is if there's a good bid which the club gets. That's when Kane is going to say that, okay, it's a bid over there, 170 million. I want to move. That's when I see him moving. I don't see him pushing for a move because he's a player I've seen from our back, uh, which we all love, what he has done, and all that stuff. So yeah, let's see what happens in the next 2 weeks, and we can see what happens. And then we have Dane Scarlett, who is a player who I want to see in the Conference League. I really want to see him in the Conference League next season. Has a really good potential, very good potential, and what he's been performing, his runs, his thinking, how to move, where to move, how to pass, how to be when to be on the box. Top quality player, really good, really good. And he's 17 years old, and there's lot to grow from him, lot to grow from him. Yeah, so this is the team which we have this season as of now, and there's going to be a lot more which is going to come in the transfer window, and hopefully I see really good performances from some players which I mentioned. And talking about our transfer targets, which I'll bring up once we get done with all the transfers by the end of the season, and waiting for the season. So as of now, this is the team, and what I've mentioned what we need for our team, and let's see.